want Israel to be harmed or to, God forbid, to not be in this region. I want the Iranian people and also Arab people to get used to that matter of fact and this modernity. This is, I think, for me, is Israel a symbol of modernity. It's a symbol of modernity in our society in the Middle East. And you have to find ways to deal with each other, start business with each other, and for that kind of development, they need to come together, speak with each other. But now in Iran, it's very hard to speak about things like that. I'm really very sad about that. That I think maybe the Iranian nuclear program is now delayed 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, let's say even 10 years. But to my opinion, Iranian and Israeli dialogue has been delayed or set back for maybe 20 years, 25 years. I give my best to, and I can also speak about my own experience, which maybe a lot of Iranians would like to hear also about. As an Iranian who lived in Europe and different countries, some of them are inspired and want to listen to your stories, and understand or see the world maybe also through your eyes. But for my humble being, I think this is the hardest time to speak about historical Iranian Jewish ties. They have arrested in my parents' hometown, the city of Hamadan, city of Esther and Mordechai, and the prophet Habakkuk. They have arrested more than 20-25 people with the accusation of being a spy for Israel. During the woman life freedom movement, we've heard also support from Mr. Netanyahu or Israeli side, but now during this war, he was kind of, he spoke to the Iranian people, which I at that moment find also actually for me it was very good. I've listened to him actually very carefully, but the side effect is, imagine some country attacks you, and the leader of this country who has attacked you is speaking to your people to stand up against your. It is something unnatural, no matter how problematic this anti-Semitism in the Iranian Islamic government is nerving us, is setting us back in the history and making us trouble in the world. But it's simply not. It's simply not, in my opinion, not. It's not using the.
If you need to get that proven, that's certainly all right.
Yeah. I will come back to you again. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Bruce. That was great. It's good to see, to hear, what's going on there. Look, this is one of the problems is that to make some progress, there needs to be some changes, and does this sort of make the dialogue harder? Yeah, for now. But it also may open up an opportunity, so I'd be interested to hear some other opinion about that. Anyway, so good to see you, Scotty. Scotty, did you have anything you wanted to relay in terms of what's going on in New York while we've got you here? Because I know you're running around a lot.
Yeah, I am running around. No, it's just predictable and really sad that the national media and so many people who don't live here are bashing New York for a variety of reasons and say it's finished and worried about rent freezes, and people don't even know what this shit means. worried about socialism and all of that, and and
So
people
worried
who
a lot.
lived here.
They're worried
Yeah,
about that.
all the shit. It's really disgusting. So that's all. They don't know anything about, why people voted for him, what actually New York is about, and what it would take to get elected, because we're not electing somebody that's interested in doing, outright socialism or, Sharia law or any of that nonsense. And people just are taking the opportunity to go ahead and continue to dunk on New York City without actually knowing the facts or anything about it. So I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you allow me just to land it. I was already finished actually.
Yeah, sure. Gotta go.
Yes. And the third aspect I want to talk about is, of course, this German chancellor who was speaking about kind of a dirt work of Germans who's been done with Israelis in Iran. So, and Germany and Iran, they have also special ties, special historical ties together. Yeah. Sadly, I think that the Germans is also kind of guilty for communicating during the Nazi time. This Aryan Iran, we are Aryans and we are close. So they have communicated that in the Iranian society. And I think that they are not, they have kind of a responsibility for, so starting this once in our, we have Islamic anti-Semitism, we have left anti-Semitism, and we have right anti-Semitism, right parties anti-Semitism. And this third one is based on what they have learned from Germany before the Second World War. Iranian wanted to get rid of Russia and Great Britain, so that was why they kind of oriented themselves to Germany, and that was the side effect. If you want to be a friend of Germany at that time, you had to believe in their kind of ideology, and in their ideology, so in their minds, Iranians were also kind of their people. So what I find it sad is Germany could actually, and I'm sure that they're going to try it in the midterm, but they could have played a better role to bring Israel and Iran together. At the end of the story, and with that I want to land, these mullahs, this Islamic clerics people, they also belong to our society, like me, like Roya, like you maybe have seen also progressive other Iranian people on your side. So we have kind of, Stone Age Iranians, we have also modern Iranians. Like you have Stone Age Americans and you have modern Americans. You have religious Americans, you have atheist Americans. We have also the same. So if we want to get rid of this enemyship, we have to deal with anti-Semitism on all the three levels I've spoken to you. On the nationalism stage, and on the Islamic level, and also on the left level. So Germany could have helped us with that. Because deeply, I think that Islam, or our Shia, our kind of Islam, needs and will go through a kind of enlightenment. And this very question of anti-Semitism is one of the key questions we have to deal in our society on long term and throughout long decades of education for the children and the youth who are now studying, or those who are going to study in the future. So I think that Germany can help us on that, because they have actually a very good relationship with Israel, and also they had once very close ties with Iran. At the end of the story, making it short, we had an attack. We do not know if it was effective enough. We had a herd society who are now sensitive for anti-Western, they are more sensitive of anti-Western feelings, and we have the situation that I think some parts of Iranian society, some part of Iranian military think tanks, they are giving the damn best to build kind of, dirty bombs or kind of, kind of a weaponry with which they can spread fears. Those who maybe wants to attack Iran each couple of months again. So we had actually, I don't know if it was a very good idea to do all that. I might be wrong. This is all my personal thoughts, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Well, thanks, Bruce. And look, it's very important. I really enjoy hearing your take on the situation. As everybody in here knows, we're not here to display a breadth of different types of opinions. We're here. We have a community of people with a pretty much similar worldview. And we're somewhat proudly an echo chamber. I don't want to spend this room or this house, waste any time arguing with maggots or people from the right. That's for another room in another place. But we had actually, I think in the chat there were a couple of Iranians that were trying to come up, which we usually don't let anybody up unless we know them well. So that's where that is. But also, I'm aware that this is a very well. First of all, Parisian has a very an opinion that lines up directly with most everybody here. And it may not be a majority opinion in Iran or even in the diaspora, but he's like doing the good fight, as they say, for democracy and for freedom and for dialogue between Muslims and Jews, which is very important and close to my heart. And I want to thank him for that, because I work a lot with what seems to be a lost cause, like the anti-Trump Republicans. How many of them are there? There are a lot more than you would think, but how many are sticking their head out is a whole other thing. And I also recently, because I've been trying to see, my sister has been very involved for many years with the Peace Now movement in Israel, and I've been directed to a couple of organizations that I hoped existed, but I just wasn't aware of them. And one of them is called Realign for Palestine. It's realign4palestine.org. And you should look it up. It's a project from the Atlantic Council, I think. It said something like that. And it's been an ongoing. I think it's since 2000. It predates the October 7th invasion. I think it was started in like 2020, and they have been working together to get Palestinians and Israelis in the diaspora to talk about what to do after there's a ceasefire, to promote a two-state solution. Which, if you're in Israel, sounds like it can't be done. But if you're outside Israel, that's really the only thing that can be done. And everybody keeps on saying, well, there are no Palestinians that are promoting the two-state solution or that recognize the state of Israel and vice versa. And that's what this is about. Of course there are. And so it's, I'm going to find out more about it and help promote this, because I think that's the only way to go. Anyway, Andrea's in the room.
Hi, I just wanted to ask Peruzin a question.
Yeah, sure. And I also wanted to ask Moose as well, so we'll go to Moose next. But go ahead, Andrea.
You want to go to Moose on Iran?
Yeah, I wanted to get all the topics of Iran out, and then we'll go back to New York.
Cool. So mine is Iran related, and
yeah, go for it.
Peruzin or anyone in the. And so first, I just again, Peruzin, we're all with you and with our other friends from the region, and looking forward to a peaceful solution to teetering on this brink long term. So first that, and then secondly, has anyone thought of the irony? I remember the absolute joy and global joy when didn't Iran win the World Cup or come close to it not long ago, and they're due to be here again for the World Cup coming up in the United States. And I always looked naively to these things as a chance to, the power of sport to unite people and get us up on a vibing on a different level. But has anyone thought about that irony in this moment of are we officially in peace now? Has the ceasefire held? And what do you think? What impact, if at all, do you think that will have on the current situation, if only for the time being? Probably none, but what do you think?
You mean between United States of America and Iran?
Yeah, I mean that given that the World Cup is coming and the team.
I mean, with this new president of yours, it's really unknown territory. We do not know how he's feeling today. He thinks that Iranian atomic program is finished. Tomorrow he can say no. I understand it's not finished yet. We have to do work a little bit more. So you do not really know what's going to happen. But I hope that sports bring us together. I hope that it would be a football celebration. But more than that, I don't think that the problem is somehow Iran and America. I think the problem is bringing the Ayatollahs and the majority of Iranian society, bringing them to a point to understand the pain of the Jewish people during the Second World War and before that in whole Europe as a continent. Iranians haven't done the same what the Europeans have done to the Jewish people. And we have to, I'm talking about me as a democratic people, we should make them this story, make them understand this history. And this is not that hard, actually. My problem with some European governments, especially with the German one, is that they are not doing enough to educate the people. Educate the people on the international stage, only having diplomatic relationship to export machinery and tools and other stuff is not enough. I think that Germany could have really more. And we had much more capacity also as society to make our leaders understand that we had a very historical relationship and ties with the Jewish people. And for that, we have to give our best. And I think that they are going to now do much more because, all the options has been, this military option on the table now has been tested. It can be also tested again. But believe me, if we go this path, it is not going to reduce the hate of people against each other. And I'm talking also about the Palestinian issue. The Palestinian issue in Gaza and it is hurting the people of the region. Really, I am a pro-Israel person. I have simply actually much better Jewish friends than I have Islamic friends, maybe throughout the Arabian or Palestinian war. But I do not think that we can live in peace and harmony with our neighbors, dealing with people the way we are dealing with them and their children. This is, I think we have to wake up. This is not going to function on this level any longer, that long, you know. This is my opinion. With America, our problems actually, I think, would be much simpler solved if we solve our problems with the Jewish people and the state of Israel. And I think, again, last sense, we need interreligious dialogue. Interreligious dialogue. This is what I understand.
Yeah, and that's what I've been talking about. Thanks, Persia.
By the way, the American Pope, the American new Pope, I have a lot of hope in his role in the future.
Yep, I agree with that. That's great. All right, let's continue on about this topic until we move on to another one. So I want to get everybody's opinion first. Brian, did you have any thoughts about what's going on in the Middle East?
I mean, it's really difficult to talk about this on Clubhouse, let alone anywhere. We've set up the world in this modern, world order where everything's defined by the nation states and the lines don't even start to make sense when you look at any history or anything else. And I think right now you're dealing with a rogue regime in Netanyahu where his own people and his own courts were investigating him for, violating the laws of his own nation state. What's going on in Gaza, every single humanitarian, let alone the West Bank, every single international system that examines it has pretty much come up with the same thing, that there's unfortunately a systemic genocide going on against a group of people. And as somebody who has Jewish ancestry, whatever, people can do the whole anti-Semitic or blame it on that, but the truth is there's a country just like the current regime in the US that seems to be lawless and very inhumane and will do nearly anything for power. And Iran's very complicated. If you all remember the Green Revolution and everything trying to go on over there, you have what the U.S. is trying to create, a repressive theocratic regime, which I'm not a fan of. But, I have no enmity at all with the Iranian people. Are completely decent humans. I've never met anybody who is Persian or Iranian, however they identify in my real life, who wasn't a very decent person. And I'm sure most of the people were. And the United States really screwed up that country to a great, great deal. Anybody who follows its history, it used to be the cultural, academic, social, even fashion mecca of the entire Middle East. And sad to see the current state of things. So, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you look at any of the analysis, they didn't take out their nuclear sites. They moved their nuclear material. It didn't cripple them. Why we're getting involved, since when I was a kid, I first got involved with politics during the first Iraq War. Is this president itching after being the president of peace and winning a Nobel Peace Prize just to get a war? I don't know. It's a nightmare, and at the same time, I'm not really supportive of either regime in Iran or in Israel. They're both pretty monstrous on many levels. So I wish both the people of both countries a much better future where awful people don't use their citizens as pawns and use massive military budgets to harm others so they can stay in power. I hope the conflict ends soon, and it's just tough. And then you get a lot of mediocre, bad takes on here, but the truth is, this is a complicated situation. Iran already threatened to shut the Strait of Hormuz, which would be utterly devastating for the thing most people care about, oil and the economy. So it's I just hope people back off. I'm amazed with the impunity at which Israel and the U.S. were able to bomb Iran. I did not think it would be that easy. And at the same time, it's kind of like North Korea, right? Everybody could bomb the hell out of North Korea, but Seoul's right there. And if Iran really shuts down the strait, then don't listen to the fear-mongering and falsity and everything about themselves. That's the thing. So, anyway, we'll see you in the It's just over.
And thanks, Brian. And first of all, I have to agree with most everything you said. And that is the issue. We have a obvious huge problem with our dear leader. And so does Israel. Israel is being run by what I consider a war criminal. And so is the current Iranian government. And it would be wonderful to snap your fingers and have all three thrown in jail and replaced by democratic governments. That would be optimal. But we have to do what we have to do. But thanks, Briar. I want to make sure. I want to go to Moose because I keep saying I'm going to go to Moose next, and I keep forgetting. So, Moose, did you have anything you wanted to talk about in terms of Iran or Israel or whatever you want to talk about that's sort of international?
Yeah, thanks, man. Not a lot. I appreciate it, though. Yeah, I mean, I echo and reiterate what Breyer's sentiments. I don't even think you can say one regime is lesser than two evils. Oh, sorry. Okay. It's extremely unfortunate. The fact that Trump is even considering a Nobel Peace Prize is absolute. Like Saturday Night Live couldn't come up with something better than that. I don't know. It's just like we are. Like Trump has taken this country to places that like Reagan hasn't never even went to. So I don't know. Hopefully I don't know if there's been an update for any sort of ceasefire, fragile ceasefire, tentative ceasefire. But yeah, bottom line, hearts and minds are with the innocent pawns, as Breyer put it. The citizens of Iran and Israel who are without power and are literally running for shelters. I don't know if anyone had heard, but I saw in multiple sources yesterday that apparently Arab Israelis were being denied access to bomb shelters in Israel.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So, it's like food deserts in this country. Apparently they have bomb shelter deserts in the Arab neighborhoods. And even the ones where they were actually had proximity to, they were physically being denied. So it's heavy times. So thanks, man.
Man, thanks, Briar. It's very disturbing and disappointing. As a Jew that lives outside of Israel, I'm very disappointed when I hear them backsliding. That's been one of the major the major aspects that show how much Israel as a society and how it was built around democracy, and 20% of the population is Arab, and they participate. They're in the Knesset, and they're judges, they're policemen, they're in the army. They're just another ethnic group within the thing, and for them to backslide in any way is not good. It's a bad sign. Anyway, if there's I wanted to go to Steve to find out if there's anything. I know there's always a bunch of legal stuff that's happening, or anything else he wants to talk about, and then I'm going to go to Rick. So Rick, you are on deck. Steve, is there any of the numerous things that are happening in the courts and legal stuff, and things that you're interested in that you want to sort of talk about or share with us?
More of a plug for later today and tomorrow. There were some Supreme Court opinions released today. It's the penultimate day of the term. Tomorrow will be the final cases, including some blockbusters. I quickly looked at the cases today, but nothing earth-shattering enough to bring it to this room's attention. I am going to do 2 rooms, one today, one tomorrow. Today I'm going to do a room actually on generative AI, not anything at the Supreme Court level, but there were 2 opinions in the last couple of days, both out of Northern California, from 2 different trial judges, taking 2 very different points of view on the whole argument over whether using copyrighted work to train AI is or isn't fair use. And that's a topic we talk about sometimes in the pre-room walking together, We don't usually talk about that in here. So that's going to be today at 1 o'clock Los Angeles. And then tomorrow at 10 a.m., which I think is more or less right after this room ends, Solutions Friday, I'm going to cover the last day of the term. Tomorrow, the opinions will come out in the birthright citizenship case and several other very big cases. So a legal room today, a legal room tomorrow.
Love it. Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for bringing up Solutions Friday. And I just want to double check. I always do this on Thursday. Rick and Andre, are you cool? Are you going to be able to do it tomorrow? Solutions Friday?
Yeah.
You're good, Rick? Okay, good. All right. I do want to, all right, before I go to Rick, I wanted to go to, so hang in there, Rick. Where's Dr. Francine? Is she here? Oh, yeah, you're right
she
there.
is.
Dr. Francine, it's time for your plug for your Karma Club today.
Are you in Arizona?
Karma Club is going to talk about the outgrowth of a conversation we had in Dr. James's room yesterday on ethics and telling the truth and bringing your whole self to work and code switching and all of those kinds of things that that make us wonder whether we are one whole person or several different people depending on where we happen to be. And this can either be a philosophical conversation or a pragmatic conversation or a little of both, but we really, thank you, David. Navigating reality with a single consciousness. What a great title. Why don't you give me these titles?
Do you mean
I would
we are like physically or digitally? Sorry, just clarifying. Or geographically?
Both. All of it. All of it. Because it's all connected in theory.
And or with who? Are we different people depending on who we're with?
Of course. Oh, I don't know. Are we? I think that's a very individual decision. And we got to starting to talk. You know, like who voted in the election for New York mayor? You know, is it political people or emotional people or, blacks or Muslims? I have no idea. And the voters probably haven't thought about why they did what they did. But when you appear in the world, in consciousness, who are you? I mean, it's not that. It's like that guy, John Kidover. Who is he? He is a candidate for Congress in Illinois. He is a keeper and a stalker on YouTube and Clubhouse. He's a lot of different things.
But who is he depending on who's defining who he is? Himself or us or our perception of him?
We have to define ourselves as who we want to be and how we want to appear. Rats,
David, did you just unmiked? Did you want to add something?
I'll add something. I'll add something, David.
Since many of us, Barbara, Dr. Francine, we go to the rooms, how can we make it where we separate claims of someone on reality and reality itself, right? So if we could be more clear about the claims on reality versus, again, navigating truth, is when we open our mouth, that's often where we can make claims, but reality exists before we open our mouth.
Yeah, Austin is saying keyboard warriors. It's like we say things and Twitter started the allowing of mean commentary. I mean, who do you want to be? That's it.
Yeah,
And for
the simpler version of this is what is integrity and how can you be congruent with your values and grow the F up, right?
It sounds like people are gonna make what they want out of this room, Dr. Francine. It could get very philosophical.
Well,
I'll keep it on the ground.
yeah, we want it to be ethical, more ethical and values based. Anyway, it's at 11:30 Pacific today.
There you go.
All right.
And
There
don't
you're
forget,
at 2 hours.
Thank you.
Steve's room, I think, right before that. So, Steve, put your a link in, either a link or the time of yours in the chat if you can. All right, so we are heavily into the closing comment, pearls of wisdom, and wanted to go to Rick. Rick, it's your turn.
Well, I did have a question for Steve.
Sure.
I'm sure he will kind of answer this in the room, but can the court just say we're going to pass on one of these really big issues and just kind of allow things to just go on without any change? Can they announce that at this time, or are they going to actually rule on all these things, or can they say, well, we're gonna pass on this for now?
So there's a short technical answer. It's not going to apply to any of the cases tomorrow, but occasionally the court will announce after hearing oral argument, or sometimes before hearing oral argument, but after granting cert, that a case is dismissed as improvidently granted. So it doesn't happen often, but sometimes the court will just say, never mind, we're not going to hear this case, or never mind, we're not going to issue an opinion. It's going to be just as if we didn't hear the case. We never should have granted cert. It doesn't happen often. It happened a few weeks ago. A case was dismissed as improvidently granted. And when they do that, it's just whatever the lower court ruling is stands. So that's the technical answer. But if they write an opinion, in one way or another, they're going to resolve the case. Sometimes broadly, sometimes very narrowly. But the only way they can literally just duck is to dismiss the case as improvidently granted.
Okay, great. Thank you. So I have in a couple hours I have a meeting with this group called elect.org. And it's a group of people mainly in their late 20s, early 30s, who have started an organization to recruit and train people to run for office. They're really a remarkable group of people. And, when I hear that the youth are not taking things seriously, they take things very, very seriously. And I think that everybody in the leadership is under 40. Some of them are already elected officials, some of them are campaign managers, and so it's really going to be interesting for me, because a lot of times when I hear people talking about young activists, they're either, it's people my age, right? And they go, well, they listen to this person, and they listen to this person, and they listen to this person. But these are a lot of the names that I'm hearing that youth listen to, I never hear from the youth. So I don't know if we're just making some wrong assumptions about that. But it's going to be really interesting, because this, to me, is going to be a listening session, and to find out, who who are they listening to? Who inspires them? Who repulses them? What are the things that they are fighting for? How do they get it? But they are very involved with the process of how you get something done, both inside and outside of government. And they seem to have a very realistic point of view, and in many cases, more realistic than people my age, about what needs to be done. So it's going to be really interesting. And, these are gross generalizations because every demographic has an extremely wide range of people in them. And we tend to like to categorize groups as a whole. And the more I look into it, the more I find that these categories are really way too general and make a lot of assumptions. So it's going to be a really interesting meeting, and I'm looking forward to it.
And Rick, may I suggest, if I don't know what time you have, or if you want to do it this way, but after we vote, we actually interviewed a number of some of the current youth activists from all different backgrounds, including Circle, which is a civic engagement research group that was involved in the Democracy Coalition with When We All Vote and a bunch of others on getting out, not even focusing on getting out the youth vote, on understanding young people across the country, their civic engagement, what was driving that, what was hindering that, and what are the issues that were resonating with them, as well as the Harvard Youth Poll. So I think it'd be kind of interesting to see. I put the link above, and we've talked about this offline, but it'd be interesting to see how some of the results from these, studies and polls are lining up with, what you're hearing through your interviews with these folks, because a lot of, they highlight what their key issues are. There's even one that talks about the media and where they engage and what sources they trust. So I'm interested to see how some of the studies and how their data sets are kind of aligning with some of the anecdotal, and the experience of these people that you're speaking to. And we even talked with, I think,
Andrea, can I stop you for a second? Because I want you to sort of debrief everybody afterwards. But I want to mention that we have two anonymous people in the room. This is this Adrian Dittman guy. I think his real name is John Kittober, and he is recording this room as we speak. He's been recording our rooms. And I don't know what he does with them, but he's been recording a lot of rooms like ours and politics. A lot of them, like Patty's room and a lot of our friends. And it's very disturbing because we can't get rid of the anonymous people when this guy who's a very right-wing maggot person who's been trashing us all over the place. It's very difficult here, and we're trying to find, and I know Joe's in the audience, and that's kind of the reason why I'm mentioning this, because we really would love to be able to have some control over our room so we don't have people like this recording the room illegally. And he's broadcasting it on YouTube, which is illegal for that as well. And I hope that we don't have to deal with this.
I want to reiterate with Joe. I want to reiterate with Joe on the stage that I do not like this. I just want to reiterate while Joe is on the stage. Joe, I hope you're listening to us. Many of us are old school, early adopter Clubhouse people who know what it was. We've seen it evolve. We've been here. We've been part of the journey. We like to think we helped whatever has gone on here, not hindered it. And we do not like this feature. It is, I don't care if they're paying for it. It doesn't make a lot of sense to us. It's an invasion of our
it changes when we
our copyright, our intellectual, whatever. We should be able to control our spaces, and we should know who people are in this room. It isn't safe necessarily. We live in a weird political environment right now, and also for women. Thank you. Please get rid of this.
Absolutely. If I could just say real quick too, to that point, Andrea, like Joe, and respectfully, it's bizarre that this feature was even created without giving the option of the mods to remove toxic people, like we've just pointed out. It makes no sense. It really is an incubator for toxicity. There's no reason to have these people being anonymous. They can't engage in chat. They can't engage on the stage. They just sit there creepily and record, and it's ridiculous. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I can also say something about the same issue, I think first of all there is not a really effective way to protect a room or protect a dialogue against kind of sabotage like that. Second of all, I want to tell you, for example, there was an Iranian guy, I don't know if he's still here in the room. He was obviously following me, just as an example how bad the situation is. He was writing in Persian to me, you guy with a lot of fears, and so why don't you condemn the killings of Iranians by the Israeli forces? How dare you are, how screw you are, and like bad things. And then later on he was writing me something else. So I'm just telling you, this is, and he was from Iran, and for us as Iranian citizens, I mean, I'm a German, but I have also Iranian citizenship. These people were going to make Iranian people trouble and terrorize them simply because they think that we are not condemning this war against Iran enough, or we are trying to build bridges between the people of Jewish faith and Islamic faith. This is what I was talking. Usually you haven't seen ever an Iranian fellow following me in this room and overwatching, observing what I'm speaking about with my American or my English-speaking friends around the world. This is what I was telling you. And this is the dimension of the new situation. Excuse me, just wanted to.
Well, it sounds like an easy solution is just giving the people who are moderating the ability to not allow anons in the room or remove them. I'll tell you the one that just really got my heart. There's a really vibrant online poetry scene on Clubhouse. It's been my new favorite thing. There's this like whatever feature for a while where they could do the whatever the gifts, and this one person who was a non kept staying in one of the poetry rooms. They made their profile send nudes, and over again it kept showing it as a little image, and none of us could figure out how or why this was going on. So, and afterwards when we tried to remove the anons from like the poetry sphere in the rooms where it's a little more protected and people are discussing things like sexual assault, so it would be really helpful, like everybody mentioned, just to give the moderators the power to either remove anons or to just set a room as no anon would solve this very quickly, and I imagine wouldn't be hard. So as everybody's echoed, it would just be great if as moderators we could try and guard our spaces in those ways. Just, sometimes it's important. Sometimes we find this app very meaningful and we're trying to use it that way. So I know a lot of people request that. I doubt anybody would be upset if we gave anons the power to the mods the ability to, even before the room starts, just set it as no anon, or to just give us the ability to remove them if like that dude goes in and starts recording and publishing women online and stuff. It's very creepy.
Yeah. No, look, we do, I have to say personally, I'm very committed to this space, and I really feel, blessed that I even have this. I'm sitting out here in Ouagadougou, and I get to talk to all my friends all over the world. So I really do appreciate it, and this has been the first time that I've really had an issue. We used to be able to have private rooms where you can only have people from the house in, and I don't even know how to do that, because I would do that. I would give up having an open room. But since we can't do that, we're open to this. And this guy is insidious. I mean, he's really a bad news character. I've been trying to get the link so you probably know who he is. It's John Kidd over, and his name's Adrian. On Clubhouse, his name's Adrian Kidman, and he has about 10 other names, fake names, and there are pictures of him in his basement where he has like 7 or 8 phones set up where he's broadcasting 7 or 8 Clubhouse rooms at the same time. And I don't know if you can do anything about attacking that him personally, but I agree with Breyer. The easiest thing would be to, at the very least, give lead moderators the ability to kick out anonymous people to prevent that from happening. It's a safety issue. Anyway, thanks. And again, I want to thank you, Joe, because you've always been around and you've been listening to a lot of the community, and I really appreciate that. Anyway, we are into closing comments, pearls of wisdom. Did we get to you? We were going to get to Scotty. Scotty, did you have a closing comment, pearls of wisdom?
I can't. I'm at my office. I'm sorry. I will yield.
All right, no problem. You know what? Rick, did you ever get to, I don't think, Rick, you ever got to give your closing comment.
No, I did. That was it. You know, it's listen more, and I'm gonna go do some serious listening today, and hopefully learn a lot.
And Solutions Friday tomorrow at 7:30
Pacific.
West Coast, 10:30 East Coast. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Correct.
There you go. All right. So you know what? Let's go to Andrea for David Jacobson. Let's go to you, and then we're gonna go to Andrea for the caboose. Dave Jacobson.
Oh well, we've covered quite a bit today. I don't have anything deep to say. I don't know if it's really a safety issue as much as it's a privacy issue. The concept of owning your room